Good afternoon, everyone. This is AJ with FBA Securities, bringing you a quick market recap, and I want to cover one of the structured notes that is going to be auctioned next week as well. So we'll get right into it. So I'm recording this midday. It is around almost 2 o'clock Central. But the markets as of right now, S&P is up almost 50 bips, and Nasdaq is up just slightly above 50 bips. We did have Powell come on today and give some commentary from the Fed's perspective, and we did see we were down close to almost 1.2% on the day. We did see a very nice reversal. So we are starting to hopefully bottom out. I know I said that in last week's video, but I also mentioned the bottoming out process does take some time, and some moves and shakeouts and whatnot. But for the year, S&P is still down 1.6%, and Nasdaq is still down just under 4%. So a pretty volatile start to the year, but this is when you have two back-to-back 20% plus years. Uh, you can't expect it to be anything easier moving forward. So markets are kind of, again, a lot more to price in at this time around. So we'll just do some quick looking at some of the charts. So I did mention for almost 3, 4 weeks ago as well, I was watching this major 569, 570 level as support, and we finally did test it today. We did see, again, we saw almost 1.25% down on the day, but now we're sort of creating a nice wick and a lot of buying is happening as well. So I'm hoping we start to at least, go sideways and then we can sort of start moving higher. But one thing I would definitely be watching is we do have this gap to fill, which was from Wednesday into Thursday. So we'd like for this gap to fill, which would be around 583. And then we do have a lot of overhead resistance. Specifically, I'm looking at this 50% retracement, which is around 589 for S&P, and it is around 510, 511 for NASDAQ, which also lines up with this monthly support. Or now in this case, it'd be resistance. So we do have quite a ways to sort of churn higher, or quite a resistance to overcome. But I believe as long as these levels start to hold and we can start seeing some daily and weekly closes above it, we should start to at least start testing some of the overhead resistance. So again, for that level for NASDAQ is around 490, and it is 569 on the S&P. So I'll just cover Bitcoin really quick because this was kind of interesting. So Bitcoin, we did see I think on Monday overnight or something, yeah, sometime around Monday, I think Trump did announce the crypto sort of reserve that the US government will be doing. And we did see sorry, we did see Bitcoin sort of stall out at this negative 50% fib level. And now we're just kind of teeter-tottering between the two. But I would like to see Bitcoin catch a bid as well because that's a pretty good risk-on sentiment for the markets. But, nonetheless, just have to sort of watch the overall thing. There are some pretty good earnings that came out that might also sort of save or help us navigate a little bit higher, specifically Avgo. The earnings were pretty stellar. We actually, I think it was in the pre-market or actually post-market, it printed around 215, but now it's starting to hopefully stay within this channel. We can start moving a little bit higher, which will help these semiconductors overall. This weekend, we also had Okta report a really strong earnings from them as well, and as well as Zscaler. I think this one might be a pretty attractive stock. Like the chart and pattern overall. Another one I'm kind of watching that didn't report earnings, but I just kind of like the pattern a little bit is Intuit. You did see a nice sort of trap gap. We had a reversal higher. Now it's just kind of consolidating after the earnings report. But I would start to watch for this one to move a little bit higher, especially coming to tax season and whatnot. So we'll go right into the structure note. I'm not going to talk too much on the educational aspect of structure note, but I'll just kind of cover what the note entails. And I'll post that educational video in the chat, and then you can find it on our under our FBS group, YouTube as well. So for this structured note, it is with Barclays, and it's giving 12.5% yield on an annual basis. This is a 2-year term, which will, and the note is callable after 3 months. I think the very high likelihood that this note will be called after 3 months, given the fact that, we've seen a nice little correction. And in 3 months, if we're at least positive on any or all, sorry, if we're positive on all three indices, then the note will be called back. So at least you'll get that 3%, a little over 3% within that, short duration. And then we can look to sort of roll into another note. But the protection is it's a 25% coupon protection. So as long as the worst performing index isn't below minus 25%, you will receive that coupon payment. And then towards the end of the term, it is a 30% soft coupon, or sorry, 30% soft principal protection. But again, if it is callable after, or if it is called after 3 months, you will receive that full principal back as well. We can kind of look at, where some of those levels will be. If you look at, should do XPX a little bit cleaner. So SPX, a 25% coupon protection, you're basically looking at all the way down to the November lows of 2023, which I mean, you're giving itself a lot of room on the protection side. For NASDAQ, you are looking all the way down to again around the same level, around the same time, assuming that today is a strike. I know it is tomorrow, or sorry, next week, but just using the current price as well. So we are looking at around, again, something similar in that October, November range for 2023. And for Russell, a 25% coupon protection is uh, actually, so this is below any of the most recent lows. Is coming all the way back down to COVID, or sorry, 2022 prices. So you're getting a pretty large coupon protection in this case. And then, of course, you have a 30% principal protection at the end of the term. So now you're coming down into the 1400s for Russell. For SPX, it would be around, yeah, you're coming back close to where 2022 levels were in early 2023. And then for NASDAQ, a 30% coupon protection, or sorry, principal protection, you're coming down uh, just shy, basically the start of 2020 or end of 2022 levels. And whatnot. Again, this is assuming that the current price is a strike price. Of course, is going to be pricing or striking next week. But just showing we have a lot of protection on this note, and you're getting just north of a 12% return for this note. And so if you are interested, the account types, we do accept almost all account types, IRAs, joint individuals, trust accounts, business accounts, etc. And we have to open this up on Charles Schwab. So if you are interested, please reach out ASAP, and at least we can get that set up. And then since we are here, I'll just kind of go over some other stuff I was watching. So uh, if you look at the indicator or the oscillator again, it's kind of been teeter-tottering, and now it finally touched into the oversold area. So again, hopefully we're starting to sort of form out a bottom here. And Powell did come on today around noon, and he was giving his outlooks for the economy. So for his observations, the economy is still very strong, and we do have a solid labor market. And there aren't, at least from a Fed perspective, they're not in a rush to adjust interest rates. Again, they think there might be some short-term inflation movements, specifically related to tariffs. And again, he's looking more so at a group of data points. They're not going to use a singularity sort of metric uh, to think irrationally on any sort of rate cuts and whatnot. But from what he was noting, there's no immediate reaction to tariffs, tax cuts, and things like that they're going to evaluate on the economy over time. But they did leave the door open for future cuts, and I think right now we're currently pricing in 3 cuts for 2025. So just something to be considered, or just something to sort of pay attention to. But yeah, just wanted to give a quick recap, and also share the structured note. And then if you have any questions, just please reach out. That's all I have.